in that market, I lost absolutely everything. I lost my cars. I lost my houses. I lost everything. It
Right.
was a mess. So for that period, I literally went into my room, locked the door, and was in the dark for a year. And because I was not here, I was just broken, completely
Yeah.
broken. And it was one of those experiences that completely changes you. Money ain't anything. It's
No.
your spirit. If it's too tied to this identity of what I do, what I can give to others, what I can produce, and then that is all of a sudden gone. I opened Hometown Transaction Coordinators while I was couch surfing at my mom's house. All I had was my laptop, my cell phone, and my car, and my son. That's it. There is no limitation unless you say there is.
Welcome back to the Transaction Care Podcast. I am your host and resident care coordinator, Lillian Hernandez, aka Lily like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. My goal with each episode is to demystify the business of real estate and leave you empowered to start your journey today. New episodes are released every Monday, featuring guests and leading voice within the industry around the world. So visit transactioncarepodcast.com to stream past episodes. And my TC community is officially open. It's an exclusive private membership community, helping those confront the unknowns of life with ease and courage, providing you with strategies to shift your mindset. So, with all that said, today's guest is a industry vet, a leader, a voice of reason, a trustworthy voice, all that good stuff. Let me get into her bio before we bring her on. Her name is Michelle Martinez. She is a savvy 21st century businesswoman who has been immersed in the Florida real estate industry since 1995. Michelle is hardwired for excellence with a genetic predisposition for passionate engagement, taking great pride in being an informational resource to her customers. Michelle has built her business based on long-term relationships, not individual transactions, with a vast knowledge base covering luxury real estate, mortgages, property taxes, valuation, and REO, and so much more. She's also just an amazing human being. So, Michelle, thank you for being here. How are you
Thank you for having
doing?
me.
Of
I'm
course.
good. The pre-call was amazing, so I'm excited to get through this right now.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. The pre-call could have been its own podcast, you guys. Who knows? We may start our own show after this. You never know.
We're gonna take it on the road,
We're
guys.
taking it on the road. So, start saving your coins now. But Michelle, thank you again for being here. You are, in my opinion, a trusted voice, a leader in this industry, especially amongst us transaction coordinators. You are a familiar face online and you have a great presence. And one, thank you for that and for sharing and being open with us and allowing us to, I don't like the word use, but use you as a resource and a person that we can count on, when we're struggling or afraid. But I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about your journey into real estate because 1995 was a couple years ago. I'm not trying to age us, but
Thank you.
it was a couple years ago, maybe, a couple years and some change. So real estate, why real estate? Was this influenced by family? Was this a family business or did this just align with you at the right time?
Oh, well, fourth generation in real estate. My whole
Wow.
entire family.
Okay. Yeah, talk about that. So, did you think you were gonna stick with the family business, or was there ever a moment where you thought, let me try something different? Or you were
So
just like, I'm bored, this is me.
no, it was a journey like all of life. When I was 15 at the time, my mom was like, "Hey, girl, you're 15, you're going to start answering phones at the company." I was like, "Sure." So the weekends, I had phone duty, making sure that the listings got scheduled, people had access, because back then all we had was a phone and a fax.
Right, that part.
The emails were not even trusted yet. Everybody was giving it side eye. I mean, what did we have? I think it was Netscape.
Yeah,
And
something
then
like that.
I know that we got in 97 the AOL. in the
Disc.
house. Like
Free 60 minutes free. I went through so many discs just trying to chat with people online. It was ridiculous.
so the whole thing on its own, like it's been a journey. When I tell everyone, I was like, yeah, MLS was DOS. We had to, when I had to put input listings for
Gosh.
my mom, it was you got to go in. It had the whole like the dial-up thing happening, but you were dialing into the system for the MLS. And it was you had to have the big map, right? And know your codes to put in the listings. So that's where I started
Yeah.
right there. Phone calls and hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And putting it into the system. So I did that all the way until 2002.
Okay.
And within a year, I was a transaction coordinator for my mom and the entire office and just processing paperwork from 96 all the way into 2002. And then I did the thing that happens when you're 21 at the time. I'm kind of bored. I've been doing this for a while, mom,
Yeah.
and I don't know. And I'm like, I'm in between. And that time I was doing a lot of things actually, because yeah, I'm young and I'm doing young, dumb things. So I had the Lady Assassins, which was a dance crew, and we were traveling the country dancing at rave shows for Ultra and
Nice.
other drum and bass artists. So that was like, I had like my fun, like we kind of did this in my pre-call, but it was like I'm a Sagittarius and a Capricorn all rolled in one. So I need the party and
Yes.
I need the serious and I definitely need the coin to feel like I have balance. So so I was doing all these things and I was like, I was tired of coming to work and reminding people to do the things that they agreed to do.
Hmm.
So I looked at my mom and I was like, look, I need to start doing it. I mean, the money was great, but I need to do something else. So moms do what do they do best. And my mom went into her Rolodex and called her network. And I went through the process of being shipped to different companies in my
Oh.
mom's network. So I went and got shipped to an appraiser, and I had fun learning about how to pull property and go ahead and price that out. And at that point, this is 2002.
Hmm.
So again, facts dot matrix every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I was working from 4 to 10 o'clock in the morning at the appraiser's office.
Wow.
Countrywide home loans sending in orders. So you're here at 4 o'clock in the morning as I'm coming in coffee. Okay, I'm gonna go pull comps for the appraiser
Right.
to get him his information so he could do the report, and then I would start filling in the reports for the appraiser. So I did 6 months of that and I said, that's cool, but it's not the price of rice. I'm not up for this. So then I got shipped off to a title company. And oh my God, I only lasted 3 months in a title company. It was like watching paint dry.
Oh.
I was like, so what we're doing here is, and I love my title people. God bless you. Someone has to do it.
So much respect. We respect you guys. I'm gonna get title and escrow on the show as well. So you could speak for yourself. Okay. We
Someone loves it.
respectfully.
Someone out there loves being a title agent, and God bless you, someone has to do that work, because we cannot pass off property without going through
You
a
got
title
this.
search. Okay, but oh my God, especially in that was late 2002 going into 2003, I was like, mom, I am not going to drive your attorney friend crazy here,
Yeah.
because every time they're coming in, they're like, doing surgery, stop, and I was like, oh my God, no.
You're coming from oons 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 to eh. That's
I
what you
couldn't. I
did.
was just not up for it. So I didn't last long where in the title company. And then I got shipped into a mortgage company. So I literally went through everything.
Yeah.
And I got placed with a mortgage processor. And I was like, I'm home. So I spent from 2003 all the way to 2008 processing mortgage loans.
Wow. Interesting.
And I found it super interesting. I was like, so what was the difference? Because it's like I'm processing title. I did not like it. I went to
Yeah.
the appraiser and I was just putting in numbers and it was cool, but I went to
What was the difference? Like
lo
what?
chisme, the gossip.
Got it. Got it. Because you're right. Different
the
work
front
environment.
end, the front end. I think the thing for me is that when I'm working with sales professional, it's just fun being around sales professional, right? But not necessarily like, I don't know. It was just more fun being as like the people are coming in, they're giving you the file, they're giving you the story, and they're like, oh. So when I tell people that's really what it is for me, I literally sit there and go, what's going on in this story? I want to know it all. And then, it's like I'm just there and it was different because at that point we're here 2003 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
The market
Market was
was a very different thing at that time, and especially on the mortgage side. And
not many rules or regulations back then. So it's a
There
little,
were, there were. They just started getting lax at
that's what
some
it was.
point.
Yeah.
They started getting lax and they were pulling things, and that we may get into politics on that end, but it did get relaxed. And as the years are passing, more and more banks are opening,
Mhm.
more and more programs are becoming available.
The internet's getting stronger.
The internet is doing its thing. So we had all these people communicating now because now it's like you had to make sure that you had 1 megabyte or less of attachments to send out an email. Like this was happening, y'all. So I was there mortgage processing loans for 2 years, 3 years
Oh wow.
at this lovely company in Kendall. And then my mom decides to open a bank.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
You don't
my
hear
mom,
that too often. I'm just gonna open a bank.
yeah,
Light
real
work.
estate's booming. Here we are. It's 2005. This gravy train can't go down, can it? So my mom opens, she gets her license, opens a correspondent lending house, and we open a bank, and I become the mortgage processing.
Mhm.
So I hire 6 processors because we have everyone in the real estate side got their mortgage broker's license, and we're doing it all in the house. So literally you walk into our building, one side was the real estate side, the other side was the mortgage side. I was on the mortgage side, and there we are. We're going to the horses. So we were literally processing anywhere from 50 to 75 loans every month
Wow. Wow.
because now we're going into the height
Hmm.
before the
Drop.
Great Depression.
Basically.
So when I go through that whole process, I get my mortgage broker's license. At that point, I do become a certified mortgage professional, basically meaning that I can help investors put together deals. So I'm here helping investors put together deals. I'm helping people say, okay, if you want to become an investor, you want to have fix and flip, you want to do holds, this is how you make it done. So I was doing that on the money side
Mhm.
while processing loans and getting new banks into the network. We had, at the height of everything, we had almost 300 banks that we could sell loans to
Wow.
because that was how many offices were open. So we had a ton of AEs, lots of great lunches and things getting sponsored. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what are you bringing to us today, sir? What are we going to learn here? So it was great all the way until life died.
Hmm.
The great thing about our office was that we didn't have to do anything crazy. And what I mean crazy, meaning that we never had to fudge paperwork or do anything like that. Why? Because at that point, you could fog up a mirror and not have to lie.
Mm.
It's no income, no assets, no employment. You want a house, you're making adult choices. This is what you're going to pay.
Mhm.
So people sign their mortgages. And whenever we saw anything funny, like, oh, I always tell everybody this story because to me it was hilarious. So one of the loan officers brought to us, and then the processor comes to me and she's like, "This doesn't look right." And I was like, "Oh, let's look at this profile, shall we?" So this club promoter, not club owner, is making $1.5 million a year.
Okay, side note, I used to promote parties. I barely made $1,000 a month. Like and it was a side hustle. Like, but I put my all into it and I could barely ever hit 1,000.
I was in the club scene in my early days because at this point, this is 2006. I have my son. I'm respectable, right? And I'm
We're
there
tired.
and I'm looking, yeah, I'm here like this is the time of my life, right? I'm in my mid 20s and they're bringing me this is doo-doo paper. It's exactly what it is. I'm here like, why are you sitting here and stating something that obviously, if you're telling me right now that I can be a club promoter and make $1 million, why am I sitting here processing your paperwork? I will gladly go up and down Hialeah telling everybody to go to your party.
Here's a flyer. Here's a flyer. I used to do that for free when I was interning. Here's a flyer. I'm thinking of still bringing that back now. Like, why not?
Why not, right?
Why not? Oh my God.
So that
Right.
was, to me, that was when I was there like, hmm.
Red flag, red flag.
It was the beginning of the end. I remember that being like that turning point. I had to bring it to my mom. I was like, hey, someone's trying to pass some stuff through the office. And I was like, this is not the life we live. And especially at that time, we had a lot of great relationships with amazing professionals. And we were hearing what was going on in the legal side of things. And
Yeah.
we were like trying to like make sure that everything was fine because things have gotten out of hand at this point in the story, right? 2008 isn't it? It's 2007 where everybody is like going crazy.
Mm.
And it was November 2007. Banks closing doors, filing bankruptcy. All literally we were getting faxes and getting emails. Such and such bank is closing its doors, it's closing its doors. So we have at this point, we're processing almost 200 loans a month.
Wow.
And we have all this paper that we can't sell because no, we're not accepting no income, no assets, no employment. We're not accepting stated. We're not accepting this. We're not accepting that. Everything was just shut down, shut down, shut down. It's not even subprime. Even A paper was shutting down.
Wow.
And it was the scariest moment of my life that I was like, so what are we going to do here if we can't sell these loans? So people have to get out of contract. We're here going and sending out denial letters all day long to get people out of their contracts so that they don't get their deposits taken. And
Right.
it's like, go shop if you can find it somewhere else. But all our banks are saying they're out of business. And so we turn the year and it's crickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crickets. It was horrible. Remember I told you, walk in, it's like real estate on this side, bank on the other side. We had like the biggest office. We had 10,000 square feet in the middle of Kendall, which is in South Florida, in a very busy intersection. Both sides are quiet.
Man.
January
Yeah.
2008. And it's like,
Oh my
it
God.
was the heart palpitations. It's like, what is going on here? Right.
Right.
And we couldn't sell anything. Real estate couldn't move forward. Everything was just, that was 20 minutes there. That's a long story short. In that market, I lost absolutely everything. I lost my cars. I lost my houses. I lost everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a common story for a lot of people, but when you're in that, it's like you feel very isolated. You feel like this is it. I don't I don't know
I
what else
was
to
very
do.
young. I
Right.
was very young at the time. I'm here like 27.
And
And
you have a kid at this point, right?
yes,
You have a
I have
child.
Giovanni, and I have Giovanni. I'm 27. I am dealing with, I feel like I'm failing. I'm losing
Mhm.
everything. And then people that I was very close to, like real estate is a very tight-knit community. You
Right.
basically, if you're producing and everybody knows each other, you basically know everyone.
Yeah.
And we were in a plaza where there was like 10 real estate companies, 5 mortgage houses, 10 freaking title companies. And I am telling you, it was April 2008.
Mhm.
And we're just sitting there like, when is this going to get better? We're all sitting in the front of the office and we just see a big truck pulling up, beep, 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 because we were in the front of the plaza.
Yeah.
And the truck comes up, all dramatic. And all you see is FBI vests running through the plaza.
Oh
They
my
do
God.
not go into our office. Thank the Lord. all through the plaza, going, picking up computers, files, because like at that point, everybody had file cabinets, right? Cloud who? Every
Oh,
file cabinets,
storage units, like yeah.
everything, they were picking it up and people were going in freaking handcuffs. That's how the FBI did a huge thing that day. And I was like,
What the heck?
it was so, by the summer, we had to close our office. We couldn't make rent. We couldn't pay employees. We couldn't do anything. By the fall, cars were being picked up. Nobody could get a job. Like all I knew was real estate. No one was hiring.
Yeah,
So it was this thing like, what are we going to do?
right.
My mom ended up selling her company, closing down the bank and selling her company to a Keller Williams.
Mm,
And we all went into Keller Williams.
okay.
And we were in Keller Williams for like a year. And during that year, I fell in the darkest, deepest depression of my life.
I can imagine. Yeah.
There was nothing for us to do. Like legit. I couldn't, we were trying to do short sales. You couldn't pass a short. They didn't even know what to do. They were overwhelmed on how to do anything at that
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
So 2008, 2009 short sale, nothing. Everybody was going into foreclosure because the banks weren't ready for this. The banks that had the paper were going into bankruptcy. So now what are we going to do with all this paper?
Right.
It was a mess. So for that period, I literally went into my room, locked the door, and was in the dark for a year. I
Wow.
did not leave my room. That's how bad it got.
Wow.
If I would leave my room, it was to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
That's how bad that part got. And I remember that I looked up and my son was a whole year older. My cousin had to come and live with me to help with my son because I was not here. I was just broken, completely
Yeah.
broken. And it was one of those experiences that completely changes you. It's like money ain't anything. It's
No.
your spirit. If it's too tied to this identity of what I do, what I can give to others, what I can produce, and then that is all of a sudden gone.
Who are you without that?
I was in a room in the dark by myself eating noodles. We had cable.
Yeah.
So I was able to watch every show on, I was addicted to one channel, TLC.
Oh,
So I knew that
yeah.
from, I would literally watch from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when I would wake up, all the way through to 6 o'clock, which was always like the divorcee show. I forgot what they are. The women one. I'll remember one day.
Oh, I don't
And
remember.
it was a show, and then Desperate Housewives. There you go. It came in.
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
So from 2 to 6, I would watch the people getting caught being cheated on, and then at 6 o'clock was Desperate Housewives. I would eat, and then I would watch. I'm Hispanic, y'all. Channel 23, Univision. I was watching my novelas from like 7 o'clock all the way through until like I was watching like Night Court or something like that.
Right, right.
I was just stuck on the
Wow.
TV.
Yeah. And I mean, you need your novellas regardless. So it's
Yeah.
much
Well, now I watch Korean ones because those are fun.
But, well, first of all, again, I always thank people for their transparency and their vulnerability to share their stories. And, that's what this platform is for. That's what this show is for. But I also am like, whatever you're willing to share is up to you. So thank you for being open with, because I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that is struggling, whether it's on one extreme or the other, whether they're telling people or not. But it gets real. I remember when I was laid off, that's how I got into party promotion. That's how I went back to school. And I could have easily slipped into that state of depression, but being the wild Aries that I am, that's impulsive, I'm like, well, what can I do next? I'm bouncing all over the place. Let me do 100 things at once to keep myself from actually feeling my feelings, from actually being vulnerable, from admitting that I'm scared, And in that time in your life when you're, a whole year, it is a long time, but thankfully in the grand scheme of things, thankfully it was only a year, and thankfully you are still here and you were able to climb out of that. So if you're open to sharing a little bit of how you climbed out of that, and now we're with Hometown TC, what was that journey into Hometown TC like for you? How did you you know,
How do we end up
how did
here?
we end up here? You know, and we could start from just that era, or we could fast
We
forward to
might as well
now.
just finish the story because it
Go
keeps
for it.
going.
Go for it.
Um, it's 2009. It's the summer, going into the fall, and I look at my son, and he's legit a year older, and I'm here like, what year is it? What day is it? Like I've been so numb and out of touch with everyone, my family. Like people were like, "Oh, she'll be okay." And then eventually my mom started coming and was like, "What's happening here?" And then everybody's like, "Are you going to get out of this?" Like people are concerned and I'm just like numb to the world. So when I see Giovanni, I was like, "So what's going to happen, Michelle? Are you going to stay here another year or you're going to figure something out?" And so I was like, "Okay, what's out there? Maybe I can find work doing something else. ¿Qué hago? What do I do?" So I ended up in, again, I worked with an appraiser. And people were losing their homes, not necessarily because the property, the principal and interest, it was the taxes.
Mm,
And so I ended up going into property tax appeals,
okay.
working with an appraiser. The appraiser would come, they would evaluate the property to say, yeah, we can reduce it by X much. And I would be doing the paperwork. Here's the report to send it to the magistrate so that we can get the taxes reduced. And we did that all the way until we couldn't do it anymore. The municipality was finally doing what they were supposed to do. And less work was coming in. I was like, I know the sign of this. We're out. I'm sensitive to this area right now,
I'm
right?
triggered. I'm
Ooh,
triggered right now.
I'm triggered. I feel like, where's the work? We're not signing up anybody else. I'm out. And then at that point, it's REO.
Yes, I remember that. It's all
REO.
for like a year and a half. I think that's all I did in the office.
It's
It,
REO at that point.
uh-huh.
Yep. So it's funny. I find two jobs at that point. And one was to go into real estate into this brokerage that was handling REO or going to work with a loan officer as this
Mhm.
processor. And I was like, where do I go? And for the life of me, I couldn't say yes to the guy for the loan officer thing. I was like, you know what? I'm bitter as hell. I lost it all because of mortgages. I am that. So at this point, I avoid pain like no one's business, right? I'm here like, we're gonna go in and help the bank takes everybody's houses. Let's do that part, which sucked. It really sucked.
Good.
But working at the brokerage, it was phenomenal. I got back to being a transaction coordinator. And I was hired to be the assistant of the transaction coordinator because they were like, "Oh, you haven't been working in real estate for too long," and the stories. And I was like, "Okay."
Like,
And they're
okay.
like,
You're like,
"No."
mom.
So the funniest thing is, the moment that I get in, they were like, "Wait a minute, you're in the wrong role." And then they made me the manager of the department in 30 days.
Wow.
And I was like, "You said that I couldn't do this. I just showed you that yes, I can." So they had the account for Fannie Mae, the account for HUD,
Mm,
and the account for a few credit unions in the area. So we were receiving 300 units every month that
wow.
were coming out of the courts, and they needed to be evictions, cash for keys, prepare the property, I had an army of people. So I had like four screens. This is 2011, unheard of. Where are you in my command center? I had all these people like just going out to prepare the properties, getting the people out of the homes and taking care of squatters and doing all the things. And then I had to learn all these books from HUD, from Fannie and Freddie, and how to take care of their properties and how to get paid or refunded or reimbursed for the monies that we were doing. So I had to make sure the brokerage got their money back because that's the issue. You got to take care of the property and then they'll give you your money back. Now that I think about it, Fannie and Freddie, es un traque. We're like, why would you it's your property. Why aren't you just sending out like, here's the funds to take care of it? No, they had the brokerage handling all the repairs, paying for the repairs. Then we had to submit invoices. They approve it and pay us back. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
So I did that for a few years and then I got married
Okay.
and I had to move out of the area because the husband of the time was 60 miles away from downtown Miami and it was not going to work.
Okay.
And so I asked the broker and I was like, can I work from home?
What year is this again?
2014.
Okay. The only reason I asked is because that was such a foreign concept back then.
It was, and that's why he said no.
Mm-hmm. I just
He's
wanted to
like,
give the people some context, like where we're at. 2014, imagine. 10 years
yeah,
later, 10 years later, it's normal. But back then,
no, they were
no.
just like, no, I need you in the office. I was like, you don't even see me. Okay. I am literally on the phone and the computer. I have internet everywhere, right? So didn't work out. And I ended up in Deerfield Beach, which is about 45 miles from Miami.
Okay.
And I start working in luxury. I was the executive assistant at that time, part-time, because I was like, I've been working 7 to 7 for like years for the bank and they took my soul and I needed something a little bit more easier. So I was working part-time for a wonderful agent out of Pompano Beach and I was helping her build a team and do the things. And I was with her for a year and change. And then she tells me, hey, you know, you're really good at being a transaction coordinator. And I was like, thank you. She's like, did you know that there are people that are doing this as a business? And I was like, say what now?
Hello. Repeat yourself. What
And
do you
she's like,
mean?
yeah. And I was like, I did not know that. But, I've always been some sort of employee, some sort of team member, some sort of staff member. I'm here like, me open a business? Yeah.
Right.
So in that role, I got my first client from another luxury agent. And he's like, are you open to processing my files? And I pay you at closing. And I was like, sure. I mean, I can take care of it before I come in for working for this agent, and I can do it afterwards because I'm only working part-time for her. So we can do that. And so that's how I like rolled into being semi-independent.
Uh-huh.
And it was great. I was working for Heather. I would process this guy's files and we were doing great and it was wonderful. At this point, we're going into 2016, 2017, and I am going full independent at this point.
Okay.
And I am in a marriage that doesn't make sense for me anymore because he's a type of person that doesn't like to keep his hands to himself.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't leave the marriage until 2018.
Okay.
And within the marriage, we open my first TC business.
Got it.
He's the president and I'm the vice president, but I do all the things because
Mhm.
this is the type of relationship that I'm in.
Got it. I see.
And so it was a very controlling relationship. And it wasn't until June of 2018, the last time that I allowed him to put his hands on me
Mhm.
and call the police. And while he was in prison, my family came and picked me up. And I went 60 miles away and I had the help of Broward Women in Distress. They helped me get a restraining order, an attorney, and get safe. And in that situation was when I opened Hometown Transaction Coordinators.
Wow.
So in that state, it was July 2018. I opened Hometown Transaction Coordinators while I was couch surfing at my mom's house. All I had was my laptop, my cell phone, and my car, and my son. That's it. And that's where Hometown TC was born. That's where it is. That's where
Yeah.
I started it from there.
Yeah.
It wasn't my first rodeo, but so far it's been the best rodeo.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Not the dark times that,
It
I
was
mean,
an
it was
experience.
an experience, everyone experiences life differently, and there's no one right or wrong way of doing things, but you have endured a lot, and we don't know why we have to go through certain things to
Right.
persist in life, but I'm glad that you did persist, and you found your way out of those situations, and you were able to advocate for yourself
Mhm.
and not allow these controlling dynamics to dictate who you are, or what you envisioned for your future. And I'm grateful you're here to tell the story and to share with the world, how you got here. And again, thank you for your vulnerability and your openness with that.
I
And
like to share that a lot. I had the opportunity to share it in the empowerment conference 2 years ago because there was a lot of chatter. I want to say people comparing themselves a lot to people, the
mhm,
magnitude of their business or their
exactly,
current success. And I sat there and I said, you have no idea what it took to get there.
exactly.
And the experiences that that person had to have to sit in the seat that they are in right now. And if I had a magic wand and gave you that seat, would you even know what to do with it?
Or how long would you sit in that chair for? Even if you tried, you'd probably run away as soon as possible. Drop the magic stick and be like, I don't want this life. Let me go do something else. And that's also why I want to have this podcast and this show. It's like demystifying the business of real estate is more than just stats and more than just the buzzwords that we hear. Or I made $100,000 in 1 quarter. Okay, that's great, but
Good for you.
good for you. Like, well, how long did it last? Were you going broke? Are you still in debt? And not that those things are bad things, but it's like, let's really uncover the truth behind this. Like, what got you there? Like, were you backed by family funds? Were you, like, let's tell the truth, people, and let's get honest, and whatever you're willing to share publicly, let's talk about that and normalize that aspect of the business, because
Right.
those are the parts that don't get discussed, and they get tucked away. And then people just continue these cycles of staying in these terrible relationships. And it doesn't just mean like the domestic relationships. I'm talking about business partnerships.
Hmm.
I'm talking about anything, anytime there's a contract involved, because even when you get married, that's a contract, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
or the types of friends you keep around, the company you keep around. It's like there's so many different types of relationships, but the more we hear people talking about how they got out of those situations, I feel like it does have this ripple effect of empowerment to
Yes.
to feel less isolated, to feel less lonely, and again, thank you for sharing that part of your story, because it provides that context. Like, well, I mean, I'm doing it, but this is how I got there. You don't have to go through what I went through to get here, but just know that this is a part of the territory that I'm standing on. This is a part of the foundation I'm standing on.
It
And
was a big part of my life that first year of being in business. And I didn't bring the other clients from the previous business,
mhm.
right? I,
So now you're
because
having to work your way back up
I
from
had to
scratch.
start all over again. I had to get people to trust, know, like me, understand the way I work. I had to do all the things,
Build that
sun to
rapport.
sundown, just over and over again. It took me, I want to say 3 months to get my first client and my first foot in the door in one place. And then from there, gaining the trust of that one client for them to start talking about me with other people to send me referrals to get new clients. My first year, literally from July to the July, I only made 20 grand.
Let's pause there real quick, because this is one of those misconceptions that I think people that want to be transaction coordinators or want to be entrepreneurs aren't aware of. You at this point already have decades of experience, fourth generation. This, you're not new to this, you're true to this.
Yeah.
But you're having to still start from scratch. And you said it took you a whole year to make probably a quarter or a percentage of what you're used to making. And
It was a quarter at most.
at most, right? But what I'm saying is like a lot of people aren't willing to go through this, whether you realized it or not, this almost like incubator period or phase of like, I worked in every sector of real estate. I
Mm-hmm.
went through every type of market. I went through depression. I went through DV. I went through this and that, you know, and it wasn't handed to me.
No.
Even when I decided to venture out, it wasn't handed to me. And I think a lot of newer entrepreneurs and TCs in this industry, realtors even, expect that, well, I got the certificate, I got the license, I got the insurance. Where the hell's my business? I ask, why do you want to do it? Where's your resilience? Where's your endurance? How many reps are you getting in every day? Are you willing to make 100 cold calls every day for 8 weeks? Are you willing to go to open houses and hand out business cards and flyers for a whole year straight? Are you willing to work for free? Are you willing to
Mm-hmm.
work for, if I told, again, same like you said, if I was to hand you this stick that it gave you a glimpse of my life, like a That's So Raven moment, like,
Right, right. Yeah. Now,
would you want to do that? You know, and that's why it's important for everyone to just run their own race, but also have some humility and
mhm.
humbleness in that, because it's not going to be glitz and glamour. You want 100K a quarter, go for it. I'm not saying you can't have it, but a lot of these people aren't telling the real race that they've been running or that they're still on.
Right.
So anyway, back to what you were saying in terms of just like now you're launching your first year, 20K.
Uh,
Who would have predicted that? Like you know, some
it was a great when I sat there and I
no,
looked
no,
at that
no.
P&L, I was like, and it's mine. I don't
And
have
it's
to give it
yours.
to anybody else.
Especially
I I made my because from the bit like
especially everything you
full
would
on disclosure, I was in therapy at the time. I was getting a divorce. I didn't get finalize my divorce to the husband until May of the following year.
mm-hmm.
I had I was going through all these personal things, and it's like I had to have that moment of getting back to me because I had gotten so lost in the relationship that I was in before. I had to heal from that. I had to heal the relationship with my son because that was another layer. I'm still a person that has family, that has responsibilities, that everybody's look. I had to go through a lot of things personally. So the fact that I was able to even produce anything that first year, I was like, I did it. And of course,
Yeah,
I Ubered too. I Ubered too during the time to, because I had to still keep the laptop running, the phone running, and the gas in the car and getting my kid to school. Like I did anything that had to do, but I knew that this business that I had, I don't care how I was gonna make it. I was gonna make it. If anything, to give the big finger to the husband.
exactly. And you know, and whatever your driving force is, like hold on to that. It's
Mhm.
true to you and whatever your gut is telling you. And if you feel like this is good, and that's the other mindset aspect of it is like, I'm not saying $20,000 is a lot. I'm also not saying it's a little,
Mhm.
because how you just framed it is like, that was mine. I made that. And then once you get a taste of like, oh, I can do this on my, okay, I made 20K going through all that.
Yeah.
And now a lot of that's about to fall off to the wayside and I can move on. And I've rebuilt these relationships. I've built the habits. I'm in therapy. Oh, you
Yeah.
wait, you wait. So let's get into that. Like now we're building some momentum, we're healing, and again, people, the healing process is ongoing. It's a
Yes.
it's a recurring thing. We go through ups and downs. We go through several therapists. We start therapy late in life, early in life. Sometimes we take breaks, coaching, all of that. And we'll get into that in this conversation as well. But now you're building momentum. Now you're
Yeah.
starting to see the light is getting brighter at the end of this tunnel or at the beginning
Yeah.
of this world that you're about to enter in. What is now the ultimate driving force behind Hometown, and how are you getting it off of the ground?
So at this point, I no longer have to worry about past ghosts. I am a lot more free. I learned to, going through therapy, I learned to reason, to look at things and state of the basics, look at the black and white. And that helped me so much that it was, I tell everybody, my business is a reflection of where I am in my life.
Mm,
So when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I no longer have all these things, what's the next step?
hmm.
I've been a great employee my entire life. I know squat about business.
Two different
I
worlds, people. Two completely different worlds. So go ahead. I just wanted to put that out there because people don't think it's the
Yeah,
same. It's not the same.
it is not because when one thing is that I am serving your paperwork and da da da, da, but now I got to listen to a complaint. What happened? What what's going on? And then I'm the one that has to provide the solution. Oh, oh,
You are HR, you are the janitor, you are the president, you are the admin, the assistant, all
all the
the
hats
the
are
tech,
yours.
you everything.
The whole thing is yours at this point. So I'm just like, okay, I need help. I have gone through all these things already in my life. And one thing I know to be true, if I don't have the tools, I need to go find someone that has the tools and learn from that. Period.
Okay.
There's someone out there in this world that has walked this path or knows something that I need. So I always consider myself the great researcher. I'm just going to be there like looking through everything. Tiki, 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 what am I going to find? And during that, I found community. I found the TC's Empowering TC's page. I found the Transaction Coordinators Collective and the Florida Transaction Coordinators, all these pages. And I'm really like, oh my God, the internet. You're saving me today. And so going to these communities that, bruh, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. Free
As long
99.
as you have internet, you can go in, right? And a Facebook account, which is also free, you can go in. So being with like-minded individuals that are trying to grow something and be part of something and just learn together and figure it out because dang it, we don't know, right?
We don't all have it figured out, people. We don't all have it figured out. It's trial and error every single day.
It's
You guys,
not okay.
I did a live earlier on YouTube and the sound went out and I was so embarrassed, but we rolled with the punches. And it's just like I publicly might have embarrassed myself, but I don't care because now I have the data.
Yes.
Failure is information, failure is data. So yes, we are all figuring it out, but now we can do it together.
And then we do it together with this amazing community. So through that community, I find my coach. And I went and I sat with a few coaches and I sat there and go, okay, just like I picked my therapist, can I be vulnerable with this person? Can I tell them, listen, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
This is the lowdown of the lowdown. Let's get in it, right? And I find my coach, Mandy. Mandy and I start working together, and she starts giving me the tools that she has and blessing it with me so that I can understand, okay, this is how you look at your P&L. This is what's driving it. This is what protects it. This is all the language things that I had no clue about.
Mm-hmm.
When do I hire? When do I fire? When do I do this? Do I need a contract? Da, 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 da. All the questions that's, I swear to you, like every day someone asks the same question. And I'm here like, can you search the group? we kind of beat the horse on this a few times, but cool.
Right.
Let me give you a glimpse of life. So we sit there and I work with her one-on-one at the beginning of my business and going through it. And then she helps me get organized
Okay.
as a business owner because I wasn't organized. I was just like, hey, here's a client. Here's my one-page agreement that says, this is what I do, right? This is where we are in life, right? And from there, I just start treating my business as my business, getting the boundaries, telling people, hey, I don't work 30,000 hours a day. I need to rest too. Mistakes happen. If I don't rest, you want to make sure I get my rest and you need to allow me to have the time. You don't need to allow me crap. I am letting you know that from this to this time, this is when I'm going to work on your project.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I'm with my family. If that doesn't work for you, Find someone that can do it in the way that in the terms that you desire, but it's not with this person right here. And that's okay. And being okay to have those conversations and being okay to be like, because at the beginning, hey, you want to make money, but not all money is good money. And not
Say that
all of that,
again.
it's not. There's some people there that will suck your soul. I'm really like, dude, it's $300. It's my $300, and this is what I want from you. And
Yeah.
so it's like you have to you learn through the school of hard knocks, and every time I would bump into a new experience, a new policy would be coming into my service agreement, a new way of doing business. So I'm going through this and reestablishing myself. Year 2, I'm already making 6 figures. Year 3, I'm already in good money town. And I'm here like, yay! I got remarried. Great man. I'm pregnant. Oh, I'm gonna have another baby at the age of 40. Who are you, Michelle?
Yes.
Life's good, right?
Yes.
And then the pandemic hits.
That dang pandemic. Ah.
And that was a whirlwind for me. It wasn't really the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic was what it was. It was very shocking, but I was already working from home. So that wasn't the aspect of it
Yeah,
that really freaked me out. It was the fact that I was pregnant,
right.
going to the hospital through all this stuff.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but are you still working solo at this point? Or
No. So
okay.
at this point, by year 2, I had a TC, an assistant, and I
And
had another assistant coming in at that point. Yeah. So
okay,
there was
okay.
a team of 5 by the time I was about to give birth.
Okay, because I just wanted to clear that up for those that are out there thinking that they could do all that on their own. You know, I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think it's physically, emotionally possible to reach whatever 6 figures is, or even just managing a high volume of
I
transactions
think that you
alone.
can. I think you can reach 6 figures, but you have to be incredibly efficient
That's
in
yeah.
order to do that. By the time I hit 6 figures, I had an assistant.
Okay.
And they had to be there to catch all the things that I was not catching, because you're going
Exactly.
a million miles an hour. A lot of conversations are going on, and you need that extra pair of hands to just even get compliance done, because that's a freaking paper suck, right?
Exactly.
So at that point, when I got my first assistant, it was because of that. I was like, there's only so much I can do.
Okay.
When I speak with people, I tell them, like, statistically, you are good with 150 relationships. You know
Mm,
names, their people. You like 150 people are what you are usually dealing with. And you got to count your family in that if you're close to them at all, right? Or friends that are family to you. Those
yes.
are your 150 relationships, right? Then you have your clients. This is the access to you that you have to start thinking about, because everyone's like, oh, if I had X amount of agents giving me X amount of files, I remember the rudimentary paperwork numbers that you do there, multiplying and figuring out life. No, it's the relationship that you're getting into. This is where it all starts. When you start defining, okay, this is the kind of people that I like working with. These are the type of people that I don't want to work with, right? Because you want to have let's say the 30 relationships that you can actively work with on any given moment. You want to define what those relationships look like in conjunction with the life that you want to live and have. And that's
Hmm.
a whole different number and paperwork, or as I should say, a formula.
Yes.
Because if you, as a solo TC, want to make 6 figures, you can do that,
Hmm.
but you have to be open to ask for what you want.
Yes.
Because if you sit there and say, hey, I am limiting myself to only 20 relationships because
Mhm.
I have 130 people in my life that I got to take care of, or not even take care of, but be in relationship with. So I only have 20 slots left to be in
Wow.
business with.
Yeah.
And if you want to be those 20 slots for the next couple of years, it's going to cost you X per file, because I have X in mind to make in this business. It's just pricing it right based on the relationship that you're going to be open to having. You can have an easygoing life and make 6 figures, No one said you had to do it for the 400, 500, 300, $200. I legit have clients that pay like $700 a file because they want that luxury experience and they only want to be limited in the number of agents that that TC has.
Exactly. Thank you so much for saying that because uh, there are so many misconceptions, and that's the whole point of demystifying the business of real estate, demystifying the business of transaction coordination, all of that, because it's the quality of life and then the service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because one, your price isn't just, okay, well, $400 out the gate, flat rate, everyone come on in. Well, are you factoring taxes? Are you factoring in family time? Are you factoring like, okay, well, if one agent you charge everyone $400, but are you giving them equal services, or are you a little bit more lenient with this one? Are you a little bit more rigid with this one? Does it even equal up to what you should be paid? And then going back to building relationships, pricing, I don't think it should be totally fixed, or I personally don't even think it should be disclosed on your websites, because prices change and you change, and I've had relationships with agents, working relationships, where they're like, well, I'm going to pay you double. I don't care. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I don't even care if you do one thing for this whole transaction. I just value your quality of work and
Exactly.
your attentiveness. And thank you for listening to me. So when we close, make sure I double it. Send me an invoice and double your fee.
Exactly. I
So
love those.
I miss those. It's been, the pandemic did a number on a lot of people, but
Yes,
I miss
yes.
those. So, and it comes down to those relationships, because I also love that you brought I never thought about it that way. The 150 people, 150 relationships that you have the
You can
capacity,
focus.
that you can focus, right? Because that does make sense. Like if I'm constantly like, there's just an opportunity cost with everything, right? And
Your
recognize,
access cost something,
right, and that
period.
period, and that should be factored into what you charge and how you charge, and again,
Because it's your business.
your business.
I will tell you right now, when I sit with anybody that wants to tell me, well, how much do you charge? Oh, don't,
Mm-mm.
mm, mm, mm. Let's not go there. Let's go
Yeah,
on. What do you want to make?
that's it.
What is your number? Have you thought about your number at all? Everything in life has a dollar amount to it except you. You yourself as a human being are priceless. Your children are
Right.
priceless. Your mom who brought you to God's green earth is priceless. Everyone is priceless. Your time can be paid for. What is access to you for the time that you want to give worth?
Mm-hmm. That part.
You're the one that sets the number. I can't set it up for you. But if you're saying, well, listen, I want to do X by this time and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what you're saying is, all right, you want to make 70 a year. Cool, super easy. Why? Well, you need 7 clients that give you $10,000 for the year and you do everything for them. Can you get 7 people in this God's green earth to give you $10,000 to have access for you during the time that you say for 10 grand? It's very easy. There is 2 million realtors or 7 million, I forgot how many there are now, in this whole entire planet. And all you need are 7 to say yes. And believe me, there are those that are out there that say, oh, I will be only one of 7 that you will work with. And they will send you your check or, pass the credit card. But what I'm saying is that's how easy it is. You don't have to make it super complicated.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And that's the thing that I'm here, like, you don't have to price like everybody else. And that was one of the things that I had to learn. I learned that like 2 years ago, 2 years ago, because I had my pricing at $395. Everybody was doing the things, and I sat there and I go, why am I charging this?
Hold on. Exactly.
I sat there and thought, why am I charging this? And then I had so many conversations, and I love the conversation about money. We could go all day on this one
Oh,
because
I'm hoping for a part 2 with Michelle, so we can so we could have like 7 different podcast episodes on every topic we just talked about. These early episodes are really just about the journey, you guys. So just it's going to be a lot of storytelling, but I would ultimately love to make this all about money.
Money is one of those topics that I sit there and I go, it's not super complicated, but we decided to make it
And
complicated.
it's not that scary. The first time
No.
I ever had to call the IRS during the initial recession in 08, I was laid off. I was so scared. And my mom was like, just call them. What's the worst that can happen? They're not going to arrest you.
Mm.
And I think I owed like $200, but I was young. I was scared. Anyway,
Yeah.
but when I called them, I was like, if I could call the IRS, I'm not scared of any of you creditors. I'm not scared of any of you realtors that don't want to pay me. I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
We figured it out. We're going to work through it. I'm going to survive. I'm a
Yeah.
survivor already. So let's do this.
I've already gone through all the things
Conquer
that
hell and
the
back.
boogeyman. So talking about money should never be a thing, especially when it comes to access to you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
And you should value that as much as possible because not everyone is going to do the awesomeness that you bring. Your awesomeness, my awesomeness may not be exactly the same. And
Exactly.
that is why you should say, well, my awesomeness, you want it? This is how much it is. Whether
Exactly.
you want to grow a team, be by yourself, it's all good. You don't have to do all those other things. You can make the million just the same way. The access to you costs.
Exactly. Exactly. And if that's still something you're struggling with, then let's think about not you, Michelle, but just in general. Like if people are struggling with accepting like, oh, but I'm a new TC, I don't want to charge too much. And I'm like, screw that. Start at 500. I don't care. Start. See what happens. See what happens to you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
See what happens to you
Yes.
first. You can
When
always
you
you can
ask for
always
it and then they go, okay.
you're like, oh, I should have said 700. I should have said 1,000. I don't know her, but I saw like in the Facebook group, someone was like, and they were in like a small town in California. I'm based in San Francisco, so our market's very different. And she was like in a smaller town. I'm in San Francisco. I should be charging 4 figures, right? I don't. I'm also transitioning businesses, things and such. But she said she starts at 1,000. And I was like, I was reading through all the comments. I was like, what is she? They don't require that much paperwork up there. So it changed my perspective on, oh, okay. I raised my prices immediately after that. I never got to the 1,000 mark, but who I am now sitting here talking to you, if I were to start over fresh, knowing what I know, and maybe this is just going to be my first client ever, I would start no less than 700.
Oh, there you go.
If I'm based in San Francisco still, knowing what I know, how I am emotionally and spiritually and mentally, like, yeah, no, no, no.
But you know what it is? This is the version of you that had to
You
experience all of those lessons that says,
20
okay,
years.
this is the number for me now.
Yeah.
And frankly, if I were you, I'd just tell everybody, hey, by this and this time, my prices are $700.
Yeah.
And yes, you're gonna have two people that are gonna be like, oh my God, why? And they're gonna leave. And that's okay, because we're adults and we can make adult choices. But
Exactly.
I don't have to bust my butt for this. I could just charge this, make this, or build a team, and they're getting paid handsomely, and I'm getting paid handsomely for this business that I put together, and everybody can have a great life, and we don't have to die behind a computer answering phone calls and telling everybody, don't forget to make your escrow deposit.
Talk about it. Talk about it. So thank you. So thank you for pointing that out. It's like your price needs to include your personal self-worth and value. And if you're still a little iffy about that, then take some time to get to know yourself.
Mm.
Talk to people who have been through there. Go bookmark this episode and replay it. Even if you have to come to this part of the episode, replay it and let us speak life into you because you are worth it. And the more experience you have, the more you're going to realize, like, I'm not charging enough. This is
Oh.
this is driving me insane. I can't even take time to breathe. And how do I hire an assistant? When do I know when to hire an assistant? And those are things that again, experience. And Michelle, you're working with a coach, you've been through therapy, still working with a coach, all those things that help build that confidence. And then you've built your network, you've joined the Facebook groups, and you've been through every sector of real estate. And again, you don't have to go through the same path Michelle went down, but it's important to note that if you want to be successful in this business, in this industry, you are going to have to be flexible and be willing to learn all those aspects of real estate, and know that being in this industry as a business, you have to be accountable for yourself.
Yes.
You have to be accountable, and no one is going to remind you to raise your prices. No one's going to remind you to hire an assistant because you're too busy. Like, no one's going to remind you to go get 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night.
Mm.
You have to build that for you. You're not just building a business, you're building your life with your business. Wow. So many gems, so many keys. I know we could talk and talk. We had our pre-call was supposed to be like 5-10 minutes. It was a whole hour, you guys.
We were having all the fun.
We
Sorry you
were
didn't
having
make
the
it.
fun. Had to be there. But I just have a few more questions. I do want to pivot into now. And of course, if there was any points you wanted to bring across,
Let's bring on the questions.
but I do want to talk a little bit about like the marketing of your business and social media. Two can be the same, but then also different, because you don't necessarily, maybe nowadays you need social media to market your business, but how much were you investing time wise, financially into marketing your business? Or was it mostly referral based?
Oh, what I learned after
Yeah.
going through an economic downturn is that you never stop selling yourself.
Yes.
You better stay in front of everybody as much as possible. I just happen to be a type of person that I love pressing the flesh. So all of my investments when it came to marketing was sponsoring offices, going into the meetings, doing the pop buys, doing all the things in the offices that I was already building and harnessing a relationship with,
Mhm.
because that's the most success comes from them being in the same space with me.
Okay.
I have that magic. Through social media, it's because it comes up to them and it
Okay.
gets in their face and they're reminded of me every time they see a post. Hopefully, they did not snooze me.
I wonder that too for myself. I'm like, you're gonna get these posts every single day. And if I'm not for you, then go ahead and unfollow or mute me. But this is for someone to see that needs
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, for me, the journey into marketing and sales has been that. So right around the pandemic, which is funny enough, I have a team. I'm going into labor and it was early. So literally I'm there telling everybody, okay, I'm getting everybody ready for my maternity leave. This is what's going to happen. I'm doing all the things that you're supposed to do, supposedly, and I'm letting everybody know. But then, woo, while I'm preparing for this, my water broke and I didn't even know, because I was just drip, 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 drip all over the house. And I felt like, me estoy meando. I thought I was peeing on myself
Which is
because
common, I heard, you know.
I had no idea that I had broken my water had broken. So I was literally sitting in my chair for 8 hours having phone calls and doing all the things and just thinking that I was literally peeing on myself. It was the weirdest thing.
Mm.
So um my sister's like, I think you have to go to the hospital because this is not normal. And then they were like, oh, since when? Oh, you for the last 9 hours you have been in labor. I was like, oh, I didn't feel it.
You're like, I've been through worse.
Basically, I mean, I've been through
You're like,
wars, so
oh,
here,
well,
this is okay. My body's doing these things.
literally a walk in the office, a walk in the park.
And the thing was that, so it's the pandemic. My husband's the only one that can come in. They're swabbing the test. I'm going through all the things. And that was a whole experience because I find out that I'm positive for COVID and all you heard in the news. I mean, this is June of 20, no, July of 2020. And
Okay.
so this is, March, July, everybody's freaking out because it's like, what happened? I'm here like, where did I catch COVID? I didn't leave my house. The doctor was legit looked at me and she's like, you probably caught it here when you were coming for your doctor's visits.
That checks out.
I was like, it was the only place I was going to. So yeah, I can imagine so. And the thing is that they were already scaring me because I'm an advanced age, as they call it. I'm a geriatric.
Geriatric. I just learned that. I didn't know that. I'm about to be 40 next year, and I just recently learned about that term. My TikTok feed has transitioned into this this algorithm now, so I'm learning about these terms.
That's funny. The TikTok me.
You like one video, it just gives you 20 more.
You're like, oh, this is what you want to learn more about.
Right now, I'm an
Oh,
expert in geriatric pregnancy. So, what do you want to know? It's my other podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I have no kids. Like, well, who am I to speak on this?
it was an experience and a half to be told that you're old, and then that I was at that point, I was super overweight. Like I was almost 400 pounds
Okay.
because I was working at my desk. I was very unhealthy at this point, but
Stress,
I was
life.
pregnant.
Hmm.
So they put all these labels on me. I had to go to a special hospital and all these things
Okay.
during the pandemic. It sucked.
Mm.
And so as soon as they said, "Oh, you're positive," they put us in a special room. Like it had like the air circulated within itself so that it wouldn't go to the rest of the hospital or something like that.
Interesting.
They were like, "You're already an emergency C-section." All these things started happening. Anyway, that was traumatic as hell.
I
My
imagine
husband's
it.
like asking for another one, and I'm here like, "Do you not remember what happened 3 years ago?" So I'm not there, but then the other day I did kind of go through like, well, getting kind of old and I don't know if I can do this again. And what if I don't have like your mind wanders the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the hospital and I'm here like, well, guys, you, the reins are on you because I can't do these things. So I was put in isolation for a few days. I didn't have my son for a few days. Like I got released and I still hadn't seen my son. And all these things were happening. And then when I got back, everybody's like chickens with their head cut off because they couldn't figure out what to do because my assistant, who was also pregnant with me at the same time, went into labor the day afterwards.
Of course. Of course. Hey guys, start a business. Fun. It's easy, they say.
They say, but
You
I
should,
want to know who they are.
and and you know what? When they say people, listen, listen, listen. When people say be very specific about your goals and your dreams, we mean it because the term I work from anywhere could mean while you're in labor. So let's get specific. So when you say I want to work from everywhere, but the labor room, the isolated labor room with the special fans, say that. Say that. It's not silly. It's real. Be specific.
It was an experience
Because
for sure.
I've talked to I've interviewed people. I've talked to people that said like I was literally with my laptop pushing, like or you basically just pushing, and I'm just like okay, all right, respect, because I wouldn't. I'd be like I'll start a whole new career. I'll I'll figure out how to monetize this on YouTube and put the camera
I
down
don't know
there.
who really needed to receive that email, but I'm glad you got it done.
Yeah, but that's a part of like the business, the building of the business is like factoring in like, oh, well, if I want kids, do I have kids? How can I separate this when I want to break, when I want to just be in labor and not think about this, when I want to be, on a dessert, eating my dessert or in an island eating my dessert
Yeah.
and just not thinking about work. It doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
going to go away, but it's like, can I just at least have 48 hours?
Can I unplug?
Can I unplug for a little bit, and
Yeah.
but yeah, so your team now, one of your team members is in labor and things are falling apart.
So the person that was in charge of letting everybody know Michelle's in labor, these are the persons that they were gonna assign the task, give the notes. This is where we are because I was in production. So I was still processing myself at the time, even with a team. And it was supposed to be my big hurrah, bye everybody, and then give everybody my files and my clients and keep it moving. So then life lifed, and she went into labor. Nobody knew what to do. They couldn't understand the notes. They couldn't understand the things. Everybody was like, they lost it. So within the 3 months, I was supposed to be out for 4, but in 3 months, I came in the day after when I got released, and then the baby got sent out the day after that. And then I went into maternity leave. But the one day that I was available, I was doing all the calls, doing all the things like C-section thing, like
Wow.
like at
Yeah.
my house, like, okay, these are all the things. And then I'm writing all the notes and getting everybody prepared. And I'm here like, okay, my mind is shot. I haven't slept. It's been crazy. It was 4 days. Everything was just like really fresh. And as soon as okay, I'm officially in maternity leave, but I'll be checking in every week with the team. And every week that I would be, okay, now's my hour to check in with the team. What's going on? Little by little, my roster was just losing clients, numbers, intakes, files are not coming in. People are switching services, giving notice. And I'm here like, am I going to make it?
Stress. Stress. Yeah.
Do I
Yeah.
need to jump in? But then my husband's like, no, you got to take care of the baby. That we're still going through all this thing. He had treatments that he had to go through because I I was COVID positive, but he did not catch COVID, thank God. But then he had some other issues at that time. So we had to take care of that. So it was like, okay, we're
Everything all
seeing
at
the
once.
numbers just falling, clients leaving, intakes not coming in. I have savings, but they're now like coming to supplement incomes and all this stuff. And I'm here like, oh my God. Like I couldn't not make that weekly check-in, but I didn't want to look at that weekly check-in because I was like, who else left? What's going on?
Yeah.
So in that state, I was nursing Giancarlo. It was like 3 in the morning, and I couldn't figure out like, do I get out? Do I go back in? Do I go part-time? What am I going to do? And I was on Facebook. And there was a challenge that was coming on with a coach. His name is Sean Q, and he is a coach for coaches.
Mm.
I don't know how I ended up here or in this channel or in this part of Facebook because these are not the people that I talk to every day.
Right.
And he's got a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge on sales, marketing, and all this other stuff. And I was like, what's it going to hurt? So he goes through like, this is how you do market research. This is how you price your products. Da, da, da. He's coaching coaches how to do the coaching things.
Wow.
And then it was on day 3 that he goes, this is how you do a wow talk. You've done the market research, you put your product together, your offer together, you've launched it. Now you're going to have starts doing sales calls, and he starts giving the experience of a sales call.
Mm.
And that's when the light bulb went for me. I was like, this is exactly what I need. So
Okay.
I was there like, okay, you got me. You caught the tater. So I finished the challenge. He sets up an after call with me with everybody else. There was like 200 people doing this freaking challenge.
Wow.
And he sits there and he's like, oh, I'm here like, listen, I'm in supposed maternity leave. I
Mhm.
didn't do day 1 or 2 of homework. Day 3 wowed the out of me, right? So now you're going to show me how is it that you convince so many people to give you 5 figures when I'm just begging for 300.
Hello. Hello. It felt like that. It sometimes still feels like that. To be honest, I still have PTSD, but tell me now I'm like 5 days. Okay, I'm not busy tomorrow. I could start at 3 p.m.
It was one of those things that I sat there and I was like, okay, let's do it. So he showed me how he took 5 figures out of me. And we sat there and I did the
Right.
year-long coaching. Yeah, I thought, now you're going to show me how you take 5 figures from someone. Not take, but how you get them to invest. And yes, I was like, I am going to learn from the seat of Sean Q's office. So that's exactly what I did. I went into his coaching program, which is a year long,
Wow.
and I still coach with him.
Oh,
He does different things now, but that specific program is still available. It's oh my God. Oh, it's a CWP program, and clients with purpose. There you go. And in that program for a year, you get put with buddies. Every week you do a thing, but the most impactful thing was for me learning branding,
Mm-hmm.
learning how to put your offer together, how to position that offer so that it makes sense and attracts your ideal clients. And going through that process allowed me to align myself with the right people that
Yes.
were meant to be with my business.
Yes.
Because in that time, I lost half my roster, half the income, half of everything is just like half. And I was basically in a shift to restructure. So when I came out of maternity leave was to that news. And I was like, all right, cool. We're starting something new, guys.
Exactly. And you know, that's another point I want to remind the audience of, especially those aspiring to be TCs, is not to create this forever dynamic with your clients, because in a heartbeat, the moment you can't respond to them quick enough, they will drop you like there's no tomorrow. And
It
there will
wasn't the right place. It was the season. It was it's either a season, a reason, or a lifetime, right?
exactly.
And it may have just been a seasonal relationship. Things change. People get out of the business. A lot of the roster that left was not necessarily because I was not at the helm. It was just that they couldn't work.
Also,
They had things
exactly.
going on in their life. It was just like the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
It was not all on my team. It was not all on us or the show. It just happened to be the perfect storm.
Exactly.
So you can care as much as you can
Yeah.
about your business and the people that are in it during the season or the lifetime that they're in it. That's it. You just won't know how the dice is going to roll on that one.
Exactly. And try not to take it too personally, or just don't take it personal at all, you know. And one of my favorite books is The Four Agreements. And
Ah,
one of the
yes,
agreements is to not take it personal. And I
that's right.
and I remind myself of that. And that's what's giving me a lot of courage as well, to make those hard calls or to put my pride to the side. Like if I was reintroducing cold calling into my business a couple years ago during the pandemic, because I was going through my thing, and everything I said I didn't want to experience because I was leading with the fear,
Mm,
I experienced with in my very first call. The very first call. And the only reason I chose to call him, I was basically on a website and I was like, all right, let me just call everyone at this office and see what happens. I picked the person with the kindest face, ended up being the jerk of them all. And I don't know what kind of day he was having in the
mm,
moment. But when someone calls you, and when you call someone and they answer with what the F do you want?
mm.
And I've never called this person in my life, so it's not like my caller ID showed up or anything. Anyway,
Oh,
but this
wow.
is this is all just tied
He
to,
was having a really tough day.
I would say, the toughest of the toughest. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
get to them, but in terms of going back to, wrapping it up, is like marketing and sales. You're gonna get those tough clients, but now it's like my mindset shift is like, all right, the fears aren't going to go away, but I don't want to lead with that anymore. So
Hmm.
how can I fix this? Okay, clients are leaving. Am I going to focus on them leaving, or hone in and refine the ones that I still have? So
That's right.
what does that look like for me? And you're in this year-long cohort training program, coaching mentorship program, and it's like that's the work you put in to maintain your business. And that's why I wanted to ask you, like, well, what are you doing for sales and marketing? Because some people think it's like, well, I'll just put $50 in a Facebook ad. Okay, that's one element. That's one element. It's one tiny speck of what to do. But not everything can be passive. Even passive,
It's
even
different.
passive income is not passive. Like, you still have to show up and check and make sure that you haven't been hacked, or you have, like, I'm dealing with Facebook hackers right now. So it's like you got to do all the little things. So it's like, even if I did have an ad, is like, is it still running? Like, I
It's
think
crazy.
yeah.
And
So
what's going on with the metaverse and all that good stuff. I had to send in my ID, my EIN page from the IRS to prove that my page was mine. I was like, what happened here?
right,
Is
right.
this to get the $12 a month out of me? Is that the scam?
I was just about to say, is this like, now you have to pay to be verified, but how verified are we actually? And now we have AI. I've been recently asking my guests, like, what are your thoughts on AI? Because I saw in a Facebook group, a TC Facebook group, someone posted an article from a couple months ago talking about someone's developing a program. And like I said, I'm based in San Francisco, so the tech talk is natural out here. It's like we get
Mm-hmm.
it quick because people next door are literally creating new apps and such every day. But there was one talking about how they're building an AI program to replace TCs, and it's just like,
I love it. I saw the tech, I saw the thing, and I was like, so what you're saying is you're sending out reminders and uploading compliance through API. Cool.
I there's a
Oh,
yeah, there's a platform I use right now with a brokerage, and I intentionally, you can delete, you can edit, you can re-upload, right? So I knew I wasn't messing up if I put the wrong form in there. And it basically, when you upload certain forms, not all of them, it says approved. So I said, if this is AI technology, and this was before AI like really took off. I was like, if this is AI technology, let me give it a let me test it. So I took it was asking for, let's just say, form 123.
mm-hmm,
I uploaded form ABC
mm-hmm.
and it marked it as complete. And I was like, oh,
It's
okay.
just got a trigger in there that says there's a paper here that no one really needs to look at, but I believe that it is. It's the
Right.
right one.
So
So it ain't reading nothing.
exactly. So I'm not, I come from the place of I embrace technology. I embrace
Mm-hmm.
the transitions because you and I both came from an era where we did not have the internet. And when we did, we were paying for 60 minutes of internet time, and then you have to get the new CD, and then fax machines and paper and printers and all that. And so I've seen both worlds. You've seen
Yeah.
both worlds and how it can impact the industry. So I could see there are great things that can come from this, but do, what are your thoughts on just the evolution of the internet and technology as we're living it live?
As a business owner or as a TC? I'm gonna give you both.
Okay, give me both. Yeah, let's go with both because you're right. There it is two different perspectives, you know?
Right. I'm looking at the world and the way that it is changing. And I am looking at the generation that's coming after me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they move in this world and communicate with one another. And I can see how maybe, not anytime soon, maybe as a TC, the role will become at one point obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily because of anything, it's just the generational change of people being okay of have asking AI questions and getting answers from it. And hey, I just need you to give me X, Y, and Z. And then the thing reads and says it's okay. We're good to go on that. Time is going to make this technology better. It's going to become faster. It's going to interpret things, and it's just going to free up our times to do other things that we're more empowered to do in our lives anyway. I mean, I'm sorry, there's only so many times I can tell an adult to go make their escrow deposit and feel okay about life that I'm telling this person older than me that, hey, do the thing that you said you were going to do. But as a TC, this is not something that's the reality of life right here, right now, or in, I want to say the next 5 years.
Yes, exactly.
5 years. As a business owner, I embrace the technology changes because not for anything other than the fact that it does allow more efficiencies, less mistakes, for us to have this technology be part of our business. Does this technology, as the way that it is right now, need human oversight? 1000%.
Yeah,
It's you still got to read it. ChatGPT, I was like, oh, friend, that makes no sense. All right, you still got to read it. You still got to proofread it. Does it make things easier? Yes. Embrace the tech for what it is that we have right now. Do I trust it? I mean, this whole thing that's going on with content writers, the actors that we love now having to fight with this tech right now,
yeah.
and so that they don't reproduce their likeness and image and not get paid for it. That is ridiculous.
That is wild to me that they're using facial recognition to use you and I as quote unquote actors, but putting like Tom Hanks' face over mine and
Yeah,
manipulating the voices. So there are scary elements to this trend, to this evolution.
very much so.
So
It's very like like I said, 95. Email was there, but everyone was like,
exactly,
mm.
exactly.
And when you sit there and you go, okay, do I have the power to change this? Not really. I
Mhm.
can vote. If the vote comes up for me to talk about it, then I'm going to go and express my opinion. If the politicians ask for it, should we do this? Should we do that? What does the public think? I'm going to give you my God's honest opinion about this because you asked me for it, and I do exercise my right to vote every chance I get. But outside of that, what else? Can I control the situation? Not really. It's not in my wheelhouse to change this. So all I can do is go through it and make and embrace changes as they come. There is an AI that will, for all you lovely TCs that are coming out into the woodwork now,
Yeah.
you don't have to read 1,000 pages of contract. You can literally upload a PDF. It must have OCR, meaning that you can copy paste from it, right? It will read the contract. And if you know the prompts to ask it, it will tell you the timelines that was agreed upon. Just where does it say that in the contract? And it'll point to that. Can you tell me what this contract is saying and put it in a way that a fifth grader would understand? It will tell you what that section says and make it so simple that a fifth grader can understand if you really want to learn a contract. I'm just saying that's what the tech is to help you. Let it help you. Are people doing things that they're not supposed to? I'm pretty sure people have been doing things they were not supposed to for a very long time.
They still are.
But can I do anything about it? No, unless it's happening right in front of me that I have to take a stance and make my voice be heard and do whatever the thing is that situation is calling me to do, then yes, then at that point I will put on my britches and make my responsibility be heard. But as a business owner, yes, I do embrace the technology as it's coming forth. It's very beautiful to the piano to embrace technology. I mean, seriously, when 3 years ago I redid my website,
Mm-hmm.
I had to hire a copywriter. Wonderful human being.
Mm-hmm.
Couple $1,000s to copyright my entire website.
Mm-hmm.
I take that and I put it into my $20 a month subscription into ChatGPT. And I say, do I like this or do I not like this? What do I want to change?
Right.
That is what happened with tech.
And it was very quick. So, yeah.
It just is what it is. We roll with the punches. And then at this point, it's like, okay, as a business owner, this is the benefit to me and how I can use this. And we got to see it black and white. Yes, I want to hire, I want to do all these beautiful things and help and impact my community. You have all these beautiful dreams. Those dreams cost money. I mean, what the cost of a staff member, not even 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
was about 30% less.
Right.
And now it's 30% more.
Exactly.
And you have to think about that. That's why when people are like, you're increasing your prices. I mean, like the price of rice went up 30%, friends.
Hello, inflation is real. Inflation is real. Life is
Inflation is
real.
real.
Stakes are high. Like things are happening. Like even
And you have to make yeah, just
even
make the decisions.
exactly. Even the 99-cent store is now $1.07 or something like
A
that.
dollar 25.
Oh, damn, I was way off.
Dollar Tree is now a dollar 25. I was like, yo, what happened? I used to be able to get my black Sharpies for $1.
Exactly. I love Sharpie. Sharpie, if you want to sponsor my podcast, I would love it. I
I
post
would love
about
it for her.
I post this is has nothing to do with this interview. I just have to get this off my chest. Because we were talking about social media. My whole TikTok is like, TC tips, what I'm going through in my journey with business. I post it, it gets decent views consistently. I post a video about Sharpies randomly in the middle of the night. It like got triple the views I normally get. And I was like,
Mhm,
so what, you're just telling me I have to talk about Sharpies all day? Because I'll do
mhm.
it. If you show me the money, I'll do it gladly. So it's funny you brought up Sharpies because that reminded me of that. But Michelle, oh my God. we've learned today that her and I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and it all makes sense. Like my head and my shoulders hurt from just nodding, like, yeah, like agreeing for 2 hours straight. And we have a lot of similarities as well in terms of like how we came up in this life, in this world. But as we wrap things up, I'm thank you again for just sharing your story with my audience, with other audiences across the world, whether it's through conferences and things of that nature. And of course, anything you want to promote, the floor is yours at the end of this show. But as we leave this, end this conversation, man, just go play this episode back. But I want to wrap it up by you giving us just a few tips you can offer the community to handle starting over right now. At this point in time, if you're going to be starting a transaction coordinator business, what can we do to just feel empowered to move forward in that? And in whichever way you see fit at this point in time.
Empowerment really comes from you, right? And I think I was asked this question the other day, and I told them, I was like, it's the cheesiest thing always, but your why really is going to drag you out and
Out.
into everything.
Exactly.
And having your own business is a personal decision. When people interact with you, it is definitely a personal thing. Okay. So you set up the world that people are walking into. You're the one that opens the welcome mat and puts the rules. Like if you go to the pool, what does it say? Come with kids better have adult supervision. Don't leave the gate unlocked. Take all your trash. Be kind. Don't be. You set up the rules to come into your space. Never forget that. And never feel like you can't establish those boundaries from the beginning. I don't care if you've been super experienced like I have, or you're just showing up today and say, hey, I want to do this thing. I heard it was pretty cool and I can work from home. Fantastic. All right. There is no limitation unless you say there is.
I love that. I love it. That was perfect. That was a great way to wrap up this conversation. And the last question I have is just, how do you care for yourself outside of work?
Oh, I love to shop. I love to design. I love to do a whole bunch of things. And for me, the moment that 6 o'clock comes out through the door and I'm here like, hey, bye everybody, see you tomorrow. It's really just hanging out with my family and they just follow me to the mall. I am totally that 90s mall kid and I love going into Bath and Body Works. I love going into Yankee Candle and buying another one, even though my husband's like, you have like 1,000 in the fucking closet. Ooh, excuse me,
You're
French.
good. You're good. You're good.
And
I
I'm
should,
really
I
like, I need
should
the other one.
I should have told you. You could have cussed and all that, but thank you for censoring yourself as well. And we talked about candles in the pre-show as well, guys. So that was we might even start a candle show. Who knows? Like,
There we go. It's like, hey, let's put all these wonderful little herbs in here and see what happens. For me, it's just the things that I enjoy are super basic, but I love it. And I'm here like, hey, I don't have to do this thing right now. Let's just go do this other thing with my family or just hang out with my two now turning 3-year-old and figure out what's he doing right now. That's crazy and obnoxious, which he's doing that very well. And just those are the things, like it's really just super simple. And I think I learned that after going through the divorce with the husband, trying to do so many complicated things is not necessary to have joy.
mhm.
And I get to define what joy is every day, every moment. And if I want to change my mind, I'll do that too.
You heard it, people. Stay tuned for part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would love to have Michelle back if she's open to it. But now, tell the people how they could follow you, work with you, if you have things coming up, the floor is yours. Promote it all. Go for it.
I love it. So definitely you can reach me at Hometown TC on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. That is definitely our handle. It's synonymous across the board if you want to work with our team. Our website is hometowntc.com. Those that come to me for just basic advice, wanting to learn about life, what is it about coming from one situation to the other? I am going to be starting a YouTube channel called Ask Misha, which is going to be so much fun. It's all the things about life, all the things that slide into my DMs. I'm going to make it hiding and providing anonymity for those that ask the questions, but just answering the questions and just putting it through there. I'm just going to do it on YouTube because I'm not going to be doing all the other things. I am good.
I love that. So all of Michelle's information will be in the description of this episode. So please bookmark this episode because this is actually, I had so much fun doing this.
I
And
love it. I had so much fun. This has been the best 2 hours of my life.
I'm glad, right? It went by so quick. So
Yes.
again, her information will be in the description. Give her a follow her journey, see if she has any job openings if you're interested. Much like many of us that aim for longevity, it takes getting your foot in the door and starting somewhere. And she is a great resource for that, as am I. But definitely just check out her information. Maybe you'll get some inspiration from the content she's posting, whatever it is. Michelle, you are awesome. I really appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
again, I do consider you to be one of the authorities in this industry. And
Oh, stop.
I mean it. No, I mean it. You know what I mean? It's important to have that to be able to have that support. You know, I just had another interview with someone else I feel the same way about. I'm just like, it's important to give you the flowers that you deserve and to recognize the work that you
Thank
put in.
you. Well, I had a bunch of fun on your podcast, and I'm excited to see how this continues to develop. And I totally am going to say Oprah better be on here in the next year or two because you definitely deserve that moment with Oprah.
Thank you so much. Oprah, you heard that? Every day I'm shouting you out. It's not in vain. It's for real.
It's going to happen.
Oprah's team, Stedman, Gail, everyone. I'll wear yellow with Gail. I don't care. I'll do it. But anyway, Michelle, thank you again so much. Give her a follow. Subscribe to her YouTube channel once it drops, or submit your questions. Again, she said some of it will be anonymous, so you don't have to worry about names or people knowing your identity. Just a safe space again to talk and just to get a different perspective on life. And again, I appreciate you. And to stream old episodes, go to transactioncarepodcast.com. And if you want to work with me directly, go to mytccommunity.com. It's my private membership platform for you to access me, as well as resources that I've used to run my business and allow you a safe space to just not be judged, publicly on social media. What if you're just afraid to make a cold call? It's more than just transactions for me. We go deeper in that. It just launched, so things are fresh in the platform. But if you're listening to this in the future, things are moving, things are happening.
Right.
And look out for more stuff with me and Michelle, because I could see things. I don't know what.
May the blessings continue.
Exactly.
I'm down for part 2, 3, and the candle shop.
Yeah, exactly. That's our new show. No, just kidding, guys. So thank you again, and thank you all for listening and supporting. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a 1-star. I don't care. It helps either way. The algorithm doesn't matter to the algorithm as long as
your interaction is all that it counts for.
But I do appreciate everyone's support. And until the next episode, I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself. Care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon.